computer. It's like one of those old audio commentaries where they had so many people on it that they had to say their name. They had to repeat the little cut of them saying their name before they spoke, and it was like really annoying.
Like
So
every time?
no, there was just it's mostly on the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre audio commentary. It's like now they know to split those up. Like, hey, why don't you just put these two on this or these three on this? I don't know. But anyway, who else has listened to that? Just me.
I actually haven't, and I kind of wish I had. I don't actually own 2003, weirdly. And I do like the movie, but I don't own it.
Well,
Is it
I
Strangely
the
got
enough.
it when
Jessica
it
Biel
was,
one?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's great because at least the version I have, it was the old DVD. It like folds out and it becomes like a saw. Oh, it's so cool.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm glad I saw it. Oh,
Um,
okay. Um, Audience, dear listeners, dears who are listening, my name is Andrew Shearer. I'm the arts and culture reporter for OnlineAthens.com and the Athens Banner Herald, and you're listening to one of the last 10 Cinemaphile podcast episodes. I mean, I am stopping at number 600 after 12 or 13 years of what has been a blast with everyone. And I'm bringing my favorite people to talk to me and do our thing. So tonight I have two esteemed colleagues that you have heard on the show before. And I would love if they would like to introduce themselves so you know whose voice, unlike the Texas Chainsaw 2003 commentary, is saying what. Amy, you want to go first?
sure. My name's Amy Paonessa. I am the host at the Bloodlust, and we talk about horror movies there every other week for like 9 years now. Yeah,
Who wrote you your first fan letter, Amy Paonessa?
it was you.
oh,
Oh,
My first and
nerd,
favorite.
nerd. Oh, oh, it's just because none of the rest of them are here. I'll take that. All right. All right.
Thank you
Julieann,
for having me.
of course. Thank you for still liking me, wanting to do this with me.
Always.
Sorry, Julieann.
hi, my name is Julieann Stipidis, and I am a freelance writer and a horror critic. I've been published in Fangoria and Bloody Disgusting, and I've written for Rue Morgue, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't have a podcast for horror per se, but I love coming on and talking with you guys about it. So thanks for having me.
Oh, Julieann, let me tell you, I am a fan. As I am of Amy's podcast, I'm a fan of your writing, and I've told you a lot of times that I I grew up reading Fangoria and horror magazines and Gore Zone and all this other stuff, and that's what got me thinking about horror on a deeper level in terms of knowing
Yeah.
directors and special effects artists and actors and screenwriters and all this other things. And like you're one of the few people that's really doing it the way I I came into it reading. You know what I mean? Like the you're
Yeah.
taking it in a way that all my favorite writers took it, except for they were dudes, so they were automatically not as good as you. So you're
Oh,
yeah, I just admire it. And Amy,
thank you.
you have shown me how to like run a good discussion. I don't know if that shows in when I do these things, but you are just I don't know. I got when I discovered the Bloodlust, I didn't want to really identify as a horror fan anymore because the internet made me feel alienated from it.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, well, where else are we going to get together and talk about it? I have a friend group in real life that love horror, and we'll talk about it till the sun comes up and goes down again. But online, it's like you want to go, hey, I'm excited about this thing. Die,
Hmm.
kill, crush, destroy, breathe, vomit. Like,
Hmm.
okay. I left every
Yeah.
Facebook group I was part of, unfollow a lot of people, mute folks, anyway. So thank you both for all that you do and continue to do to make me happy to be a little horror nerd on
Mm.
the social medias.
Thank you.
Look how much I'm getting. Okay, so we're at the middle point of 2023, and each of us have brought 5 movies that we think are the best ones we've seen. Was everybody able to come up with 5, or was that hard to do? I know 2023 has had a slow start.
That was not hard to do. However, I will say I felt stronger last year about my picks than I do this year. That makes sense. There were some of my picks on this list are a bit more like horror-ish,
Mhm.
more so than straight horror. I think that's where like between horror comedies, between nightmare comedies, as someone calls them. So I think that's where I struggle, where I was like, is this horror enough to include on the list? Some of the straight up horror movies that we've gotten, I've loved some and I've kind of been about others. So
It
I'm
is
sure you'll be surprised at one that's lacking. I guarantee you'll be asking me about it.
well,
It's missing on this
if
list.
I may say, Julieann, as we all know, it is Pride Month. I do not allow anything straight to happen on my podcast during Pride
Boom.
No,
There you
thank
go.
God.
Month. All right. How did we do this the last time? Did we just go like homeroom? Do we go by last name? How did we do this?
I
I
mean,
don't
should we start off
remember.
with our runners up, and then we'll go into our list, and we'll go, each person goes through 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4. Should we do
That's-
that?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Welcome to the Cinema File podcast. I am your guest, Andrew. Your host is glad to be back on the show, Julieann. You run a tight ship here.
She's firm, but she's fair.
No, I
I'm fair.
agree. Well, I vote that Amy's first, me second, then Julieann. Gonna go in
All
alpha.
right.
We're all-
Alphabetical.
We're all in homeroom
I'm
together.
always having to go first. I'm always in the front row because I'm short for picture day, and I always have to go first in homeroom. All
How
right.
tall are you? I'm 5'6". How tall
I'm
are you?
5'2".
I'm 5'1". I'm the shortest.
Oh my God.
Mm.
I'm not
Oh
the
my
shortest one in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know who
I
else?
have no idea how infrequently that happens.
You know who's 5'0", Pat Benatar.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
She's tiny. Yeah.
That's right. But we will be invincible.
That's
All right.
right.
Amy, let's have your honorable mentions for the top horror movies of 2023 so far.
All right. I did have an honorable mention because I wasn't sure whether I was going to put this one or another one on my top 5. So this one just got edged out, and I actually just watched it this week. It's called Influencer.
Mm.
I haven't seen it.
It's a vacation horror movie, kind of similar to another movie that's on my list, actually. And just kind of I guess a lighter version of that movie. But I thought that it had a nice tone throughout. I liked kind of the direction it chose to go after the initial. It has a really long opening sequence before the titles. I had forgotten that we hadn't seen them at the beginning of it.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing that we haven't seen before per se, but I thought it was a good version of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's on, what did I watch that
I was
on?
gonna say, where do you watch it?
Shudder.
Because I know I've seen the
It's on Shudder.
Shudder. Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Well, I use that app Just Watch, so
So do I.
I can keep track of what's not out yet that I want to see,
Mhm.
which is the angry black girl and her monster primarily.
Mm.
So Influencer is on mine,
Mm-hmm.
but what I watch next, well, that's up to Amy. Did you have any other ones?
No, I actually did not have the world's easiest time coming up with 5. This year, I guess I haven't been watching as much, maybe.
Not
I've been
you.
trying to catch up on reading, so I haven't been watching as much, and maybe I haven't loved a lot of the stuff I've been watching for the podcast lately.
Okay.
But I did have one honorable mention.
Okay. Well,
And I'm happy with my choices for the 5.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't just settle on some.
Okay. Well, no, I gotta tell my cute story first. Are y'all is this okay if I just tell?
Of course.
So my daughter turned 10 back in April, and has been getting into horror games and is a big Five
Oh.
Nights at Freddy's fan at the moment. Of course, super stoked to go see the movie. Um, so the other night, she went with me to some work thing, and then after it, I was like, hey, let's go to the movies. It's summertime, you don't have to get up in the morning for anything. Here is the list of all the PG-13 movies playing in town. You can see anything PG-13 or under. And she chose The Boogeyman.
Ah.
So The Boogeyman is, if we're not counting the Goosebumps movies and Haunted Mansion and all this stuff, this is Boogeyman's the first like horror movie, scary movie that she's seen in the theater. And I thought is a perfect thing for a kid, for like a gateway horror, because it did all the things that you know, makes you hide your face and loud noises, and a basic enough story where a kid can like follow and go like, oh, connect the dot, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a blast at that. It's not a grown folks horror movie, but a lot of
Not
things
so
I
much.
like
No.
are not. No, but man, I thought you all would want to hear that story, because
Mm-hmm.
that was a good bonding moment. It did happen
Yeah.
before Father's Day, but wow, what a
And
nice
she
thing.
liked it?
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
said, I'm coming
great.
up with my 5 horror movies for the year tonight. And she's like, is Boogeyman on there? I'm like, no,
Oh.
dude, Boogeyman's not on there. But my experience of watching movies, that was number one.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Right. And like came home
Yeah.
and wasn't like, oh, something's under my bed or whatever.
Right.
She,
What'd she think of how the monster looked?
um, she compared it to some stuff from Creepypasta. Wasn't super stoked about the special effects. But that I don't know where she gets that from. But definitely like the ending where the classic hero dispatches villain and cusses at them. She really liked that.
Sure.
It's very cathartic. Okay, my honorable mentions, I'm just gonna read them off. I don't need to go into detail about any of these. Are Sick of Myself, Evil Dead Rise, Summoning Sylvia, There's Something Wrong with the Children, and Renfield. Those are
Hmm.
I enjoyed all of them, but when I went back to make my list, for the most part, I couldn't remember what any of them were about. I just know that I gave them 3 to 4 stars on Letterboxd. Um, Renfield, obviously, I remember because of all the Aquafina, and was so good against
Ooh,
Nickel.
Aquafina.
You know,
I didn't know she was in that.
yeah, she's the hero of the movie.
Oh,
And so I she and Nicolas Cage everybody was like, oh, about Cage as Dracula, but she is just as good in terms of mugging and acting as Cage is as Dracula. Nobody will tell you that, but that's the
I
way that.
believe it.
And Evil Dead Rise I saw with my friend Kat, who saw the 2013 Evil Dead with me in the theater. So
Mm.
it's really cool, kind of like friend reunion. I mean, we go to the movies all the time anyway together, but like it was a moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we loved the lead actor in that. She's one of those kind of like Nicholson in The Shining, where you look at him that first and you're like, yo, crazy. Like, what, me? I don't look like I'm gonna be a monster. Like, yeah, you look like a monster.
She probably was the best part of that movie for me.
So good, I mean,
Yeah.
I got no problem with nothing, but yeah. Um, that's the stuff. I can't remember what was actually wrong with the children. I just know I liked it.
Yeah, I
So
haven't seen that one yet.
That's
I
Roxanne Benjamin, right?
It is Roxanne Benjamin. Thank you. Yeah, I watched Body at Brighton Rock the day before just to kind of get
Mm.
ready. And yeah, Roxanne Benjamin's great. I interviewed her on this show
I remember that.
when she did Southbound. And so
Oh,
I knew then, I loved that. I was just like, please, like, stay true to this, what you're doing. And so I've talked about my honorable mentions much longer than I expected to. Julieann, I want to hear you.
sure. My first one is called Old Flame, which this is one of the many picks that I have that I'm like, is it horror? It doesn't really get to be horror until the last like maybe 15 minutes. The rest of it is kind of plays out like a play, but it's just two people arguing about what exactly happened during a night of either consensual or non-consensual sex. And I don't want to give anything away, but it was really interesting. And I don't even know. I got like a free trial from like what's it called, Ferber or something like that, whatever that, some kind of random streaming service, and that's where I watched it. But
Blue.
it
The app is Blue.
there's so many of them, but yeah, that's how I saw it. Really dug it. There's some really cool, it's just the two of them, so it's like a play back and forth. Good performances. And then also Influencer, like Amy, I
Hey.
really dug that. I was kind of like went to it, I'm like, yeah, this will be fine, because Shutter originals can go either way, and I'm like, really dug it. Beautiful cinematography. I can't believe how, for the low budget I'm sure it looked awesome. Sick of Myself as well. It barely just
Barely.
just missed it, only because I had a little bit more fun with these other movies that I'm picking here. But oh my God, I love Sick of Myself. I think there's this reign of like horror about narcissism that I've noticed between Renfield and this. And I'm like, not that it's always been a thing, but it just, this year seems to be a lot of it. Influencer too. And I'm like, yeah, we're onto something here about how much society has changed and how awful we all are, just, how we treat each other. And
Yeah.
Andrew, I know you didn't like this one. I believe you said you didn't like this one, but I found it interesting. Candyland. I was intrigued by Candyland.
I don't even remember it.
That was that's the one with the quote unquote lot lizards, the sex workers in the truck
stops?
Yeah.
truck stops.
I'd have to
Yeah.
go read my review
Yeah.
of it, but it was something that just,
Something rubbed you the wrong way. And I get that. I do. I was intrigued by it. So I was like, this one's interesting to me, but I get it. Definitely get it.
well, that first one you mentioned, I put that on my watch list after reading your
Flame?
Letterboxd review,
Yeah.
because I'd never even heard of it. So
Yeah.
was it called Candyland?
Yes.
Was it
Yeah.
Candy,
I
like the
think it's 2
game?
words, Candyland.
Yeah. How you know I didn't like it?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did I
It's
do?
definitely sleazy for sure.
Oh my gosh, I gave it a 1 star.
Ooh.
Here's
It's
what-
been very divisive, it seems. Yeah.
Okay,
So
here's what I said. I don't remember this at all. Here's what I said. Terrifier, but with Travis Bickle instead of the clown. It's been a while since I saw a movie that hated sex workers this much. 1 star for the excellent cast, which includes American Psycho screenwriter Guinevere Turner, who I've met.
Oh, Guinevere Turner.
Yeah, she was here in Athens for a while teaching writing at UGA, so I got to meet Gwen Turner.
It's cool.
yeah, I don't know if I felt like it hated sex workers per se, but I get why. I get it.
Like I was in a.
It was messy. Yeah, it's messy.
I think I was just in a thing because I'm not a. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
I didn't mean to read
Yeah.
that, but I'm glad that. Well, look, I watched Your Good Movie by accident.
Good movie.
I don't know. Do you like Candyland?
I mean, I just thought it was interesting. I thought it should be mentioned as a recommendation, maybe for some people who
You're not calling
might,
it. Okay.
yeah.
Sorry to confuse everyone. I was
Maybe not good, but
dig myself out of that. I just slagged the movie. I didn't realize I disliked it that much. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'd give it another chance. I remember that rest stop.
yeah,
Sometimes feminist dad's really hard.
it's a rough one. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What else you got?
That's all for my my list of
All right.
almost.
Okay. Man, I gotta watch what I write on there. That was a little rough. Airfire except Travis Bickle instead of a clown. Man, geez, Andrew. If you can't say something nice, I did say something nice. I said something nice about Guinevere Turner.
Yeah.
The actors. Okay, Amy, let's have your number 5 if you are ready.
I am ready. My number 5 is Megan. I really liked Megan. I really liked Gerard Johnstone a lot.
Yeah.
Housebound is maybe my favorite horror comedy.
I love
As
it.
somebody who doesn't really like horror comedies, it takes a very special one for me, because I feel like horror and comedy are the 2 most difficult genres to make, and probably the 2 most difficult genres, maybe not to meld, but to get it right when you do meld them. And I think that Megan does a great job, just like Housebound did. And I loved Allison Williams in it, playing it totally icy and straight and as closed off and puckered up as she possibly could be. She's perfect at those roles, and I just love her in each one of them that she does.
Yeah. We're like,
And I liked that it was a little campier than Housebound even, it had a very winking kind of attitude to it, where the characters in Housebound were taking it seriously. This one felt a little more camp to me, and I enjoyed it, and I hope they make a million sequels because I'll go see them.
my 3-gin, my 4-gin, my 5-gin.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, it was another one that my kid just like, that was one of the first horror movies, like violent horror movies that she asked to watch. And I was just like, at the time, the unrated hadn't come out. It was really not that much difference. It's got a lot more cuss words, really. A little bit, maybe extra splash of blood here and there. But God, that was like, oh, I wish that movie had been out when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? Like that would have just, Megan would have been our hero. Because I was never a big Chucky person, but Megan is like stone cold, making that kid like pulling his ear off, and then she didn't actually kill him, but he like stumbled into she was just the stuff she says to him. I mean, yeah, imagine the 9-year-old girls dealing with bullies in school at my kid, and seeing that. She was just like,
I love that.
Right. What about you, Julieann? Megan fan?
It is on my list. Absolutely.
Same.
A little bit further down.
Yeah, this is gonna go by quicker than we think.
Probably.
My 5 is the Blackening. This is a really new movie. I saw it. I actually got to go to the Wednesday preview thing they had, where you stay afterward and they have the bonus content where they play the Black trivia. I had my friend Kat and I went to that as well. And Blackening, I described it as kind of I guess to get out what Scary Movie was to Scream, maybe, but that's kind of shortchanging it too. Blackening has some of the best ensemble comedy writing that I've seen in a very, very long time. Each character, not only do everybody get great lines, everyone has a very distinctive part. And so it does better than most horror movies that have a group of friends blank. These all are very distinctive voices. Everyone gets something great to do. Everyone gets to be funny and also heroic. I just is like, I don't know, if you put this up against Meet the Blacks, which is not even fair because Meet the Blacks is ridiculous, but Meet the Blacks is kind of a Purge-ish parody. I just thought the Blackening was it was what the trailers promised, but it was kind of better than most movies that try this end up doing. I guess is that. Julieann, I know you like the Blackening as well.
I really dug it. It is also on my list.
Mine too.
Wow, y'all. Well, we'll wrap this one up. Julieann, your number 5?
Cocaine Bear. Now, I will say about this and The Blackening, which is a little bit on my list too. I think they work better as comedies than they do horror films in some ways. I think, especially The Blackening. I think The Blackening is a little bit funnier of a movie than it is a scary movie. And The Cocaine Bear is gory, which I think that's where it kind of gets, it's slasher-esque, but not super scary or anything. But I really had a blast. What's that?
It's Nature Run Amok. That's a classic horror subgenre.
Yeah, in like a slasher movie like that. I kind of love that. And I was cracking up. I don't know if it was like the screening that I was in, but everyone was just having a really great time. And that's probably what amplified it, because some people were like, it wasn't really that funny, wasn't really that good. And I'm like, I really enjoyed it. So it was one of my best experiences of the year so far in a screening. And yeah, I'm going with Miss Cocaine Bear. And I love that she was a mama bear. I loved that. I was obsessed with that.
Right.
I was cracking up.
Hey, when you saw it, when the title Cocaine Bear came on screen, were people cheering?
Yes.
That happened with me too.
Yes.
We're all gonna have a good time. That's how you know.
That's Amy, how I felt.
Cocaine Bear?
I haven't seen Cocaine Bear yet.
Oh, well, that's gonna turn your year right around, buddy. It
is. You think so?
It is a woman director, Elizabeth Banks.
Yes.
I think it's crazy that Elizabeth Banks made it. I'm afraid that the bear gets hurt, and I don't want the bear to get hurt. And that's why I haven't watched it yet. And I know that's stupid, but I also haven't watched John Wick. And
that's why I didn't watch the John Wicks either, Amy, because I knew that. And I
don't want to see the puppy die.
But
I don't want to see the bear die. I left King Kong, the Peter Jackson remake of King Kong. It's the only movie I've ever walked out of.
well, I'll say this. Do you ever go on doesthedogdie.com to find out before you
I
watch?
have before. Usually it spoils too much for me, so I don't do it.
Well,
But
that's the thing, though. Right, Julieann?
Mhm.
Please see Cocaine Bear.
okay,
What?
I
I-
will. I just needed somebody to tell me that I'd be okay.
You're gonna be
Yes. Yeah,
more than
you will
okay,
be.
buddy. You're
Okay,
gonna be more than okay.
Watching
great.
Miss Cocaine Bear F shit up is pretty
Oh my
pretty
God, I
exciting.
kind of wish I could be there when you see it.
If it's like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, that was the first one, right? The one with
The
James
trilogy.
Franco. Yeah. If it's
Yeah.
like that, where you get to watch a bunch of wild animals rampage over people, I'm all about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say
Mhm.
nothing except for you're fine, and I think you're gonna love it.
Okay, great. Maybe it'll be one of my honorable mentions for the end
Just
of the
let
year
us
then.
know
Or maybe it'll
somehow.
be on my list.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
us know somehow when you watch it.
Okay.
I don't remember where we are. Amy, are we at you're number 4?
Oh, I think we are at my number 4.
Okay.
My number 4 is The Harbinger. It's a movie that came out, I think it might have had a real small theatrical release in December of 2022. So I'm cheating a little bit, but I didn't get to see it for months and months. And I think I saw it in April.
Yeah, it counts.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it counts.
I think it's streaming on Tubi now, so it can be
Isn't
watched. Also,
everything.
as is everything. Yeah, if you don't mind ads. But this is a movie by Andy Mitten, who also made a bunch of movies that I really like. He made one called Yellow Brick Road that I really liked. He made one called We Go On and one called The Witch in the Window. And all of those movies I think are really interesting horror movies that are supernatural and that I think all have a really nice sense of character and approach the subject matter in a really interesting way and do it on a really small budget. And I really like the way he writes. The relationships feel real and believable. And this one is made during lockdown and is about people that are in quarantine. And I think even though there's a lot of that in it, I think it's going to hold up, and it is consistently creepy. And I think that this filmmaker is somebody to check out if you haven't yet.
I was gonna say, Julianne, you looked like some of what Amy was saying was like sparking something with you. Are you familiar with this director's like some of those movies?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have seen The Harbinger as well. I think it made the end of my list kind of last year, like kind of like the tippy tail end of my list. For me, it's a weird thing because it almost, how do you release movies about COVID that are A, so close to COVID, and also B, so far removed from the beginning of COVID when it was that scary. So it's kind of like a weird, like I liked it, I appreciated it, but I felt, I was like, maybe this is like too soon, or maybe it wasn't soon enough. I don't know. It's weird.
Mhm.
I really did love I think it's The Woman in the Window, I believe, was his other film. I did like that one.
The Witch in the Window.
Or The Witch in the Window, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Woman or the Witch. Yeah.
The one about the guy who's renovating the house with his son.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I really dug that movie. And yeah, it's a really good movie. I don't want to give it away. I liked what happens to people once this monster
It's
comes,
a
and
horrifying idea.
it's a horrifying idea. Yeah. It's a little bit, I think it's a little sad and a little somber. And I think if
Yes.
you're kind of, if you're okay with that, then that's fine. But if it's COVID maybe is a trigger for you, it might be a little bit hit too close to home in case if you've lost someone from COVID or something. It's a little bit maybe too much. But yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Wait, Harbinger has a monster?
It does have a monster in it. It looks like a plague doctor. There was another
Yeah.
movie I think that came out the same year or the year before that had the same name.
I'm just trying to figure out which was the last movie we're talking about. I couldn't figure out if you're talking
Harbinger.
about Harbinger. That's going on the list because I like monsteries.
Yeah, it's a neat conceit, the story. And the nightmares in it, I think, are pretty effective.
A neat conceit
A neat conceit
in the street.
for me to eat.
My number 4 is Megan, and we've already Megan. So Julianne, your number 4?
The Blackening, we kind of already went over that. Yeah, I think it hilarious. I think it works better as a comedy though, but I really had an excellent time at the theater at the screening, and I can't wait to watch it again. So yeah, The Blackening is a blast. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so much, right? The
Mhm.
first time, it's like
Mhm.
so much. You're like laughing at
Yeah.
one thing or reacting
Yeah.
to the
I
next. going, you know.
One complaint I will say, I wish they had gone a little bit deeper into the references of Black horror. They start off with it in the beginning in the opening sequence, and then it's like Omar Epps and it's Scream 2, and then it's like we don't really ever get to horror references specifically per se again, but the references that are mentioned and the questions that are asked were hilarious,
They
and
were you
I had a
yelling
blast.
answers out? I was. Even at the thing at the end, the trivia,
When
you know.
when the audience started singing the O'Reilly,
Everyone started singing it.
I mean, I couldn't breathe. Like I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And I read that everyone else's screening was the exact same way. I was like, wow,
Yes.
like people really responding to this. So yeah, love
Yeah,
the
no, the
black.
right people went to see it, which is
Yes,
that's what you hope
yes.
for if you make a movie.
Mhm.
Amy, I guess we're at your number 3, huh?
Yeah, we are. And I
Okay.
hate to do this, but that's where the blackening is.
Well, you haven't talked about it though. So let's go.
No, I haven't. And
Talk about it.
it's weird for me to have 2 horror comedies on my list,
I know. Same.
especially because I don't even like slashers. And it's a slasher horror comedy. And I loved it. I feel like I loved the relationship between the characters. I loved how my favorite thing in the movie is the way that they can communicate with each other, and you can hear the voiceover just by
Yes,
like the looks, because that's such a friend group thing, and
it
the
is.
way that they depict it is so funny and so unique. And I loved that they have a queer character, and that he is not a stereotype. He's his own guy, and he's funny, and he gets to be heroic too. I liked that a lot about it.
Yeah, he was my favorite. I mean,
He was
just
my favorite too.
that what a I mean, just definitely just a face for movies, you know,
Yeah.
but
He's
also
a co-writer too,
Oh,
right?
is
yes.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that
Yeah.
from at the end. Um
Yep.
I'm
Oh, and
so
I love the Sister Act quote. That was great. Sister Act 2, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Sister Act too. Oh man. Yeah, no. I don't think enough people went to see it, and I don't know what the deal was, but I think
That's
that was
shocking to me.
it's gonna well,
It'll
it's hard
find
for
its footing.
yeah, it's hard for comedies, you know, out
Hmm.
in the theaters now.
Yeah.
Anybody gonna see that Jennifer Lawrence one, by the way? The I
It's like
can't.
I went to a screening of it, and I was like, if I get to it, I would go, but I'm not really like in any real rush to see it. Meh.
Yeah, I got invited to a screening of Joyride, is it? The all
Mhm.
Asian comedy.
Mm,
I ended up not going either, but
yeah.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, Blackening is gonna as soon as it hits like Netflix or whatever,
Yes.
everyone's gonna be talking about it.
I'm gonna
So
Yeah.
go see it again this weekend. I got to go to a screening of it like a month ago, I think. And
Hmm.
so I'm excited to see it again. We're gonna review it for the show.
yeah, I was gonna say that I didn't even realize you'd seen it because of it hasn't been on your show yet. Okay, my 3 Cocaine Bear.
Hmm.
You
Maybe
Yes.
know,
we should have discussed amongst each other before we did this,
no,
but
no, that's not what this is
Right.
my show. And I just
no,
wanted to
you're
talk.
right.
We could talk about like your favorite shade of purple. I just think that y'all are great. So Julianne, you're 3.
Infinity Pool. Woo. Yeah.
I like that movie.
I only saw the unrated cut a few weeks ago because I wanted to wait. I skipped seeing the other cut because I was like, I'm going right to the uncut version as soon as I can. That's what I did. And Possessor didn't I thought it was a good movie. I didn't connect with it as much with Brandon Cronenberg. This one spoke to me a little bit better. I thought Mia Goth, like I actually spoiler alert, actually I like her better in this than I even do in Pearl. And she's awesome in Pearl, but I
Mhm.
kind of like she's a different kind of bat-esque crazy. And um yeah, I dug Infinity Pool. I can't, it's just wild. I love movies, as my number one will suggest. I love movies that just go for it. They just go all over the place, and you'll never see a movie like that ever again. And I had no idea what the plot was. I knew nothing about it. I
Yeah, I didn't
avoided
either.
stuff, and I was like, oh my God, that's what this is. That's what's going on in this island. Like I
Pretty
just couldn't.
shocking, right?
Pretty shocking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amy, Infinity Pool, did you see that one?
Yes, it's on my list.
Okay. Yeah, it's I loved it, obviously. I mean, it took me a while to get into Brandon Cronenberg. I wasn't the biggest antiviral fan, but I've rewatched it and I enjoy it more than I did the first time. Possessor, I enjoyed a lot. It may have ended up on my top 10 of that year, but Infinity Pool, James, just right in my heart. The time she said it, right in my heart. Okay, Amy, are we at your are we at your two?
We're at my number 2.
Julieann, we didn't skip you or nothing, did we?
No, that was me. Picked Infinity Pool.
Okay. Trying to keep up, but I'm no fearless leader of the Bloodlust. I'm just
Well, who is? Who amongst us?
well, you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, me.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, we're at 2 for you, Amy.
My number 2 is sort of a little bit leaning more towards a crime drama than horror, but I find it definitely horrific and infuriating. An important movie, and it's Holy Spider by
Yeah.
Ali Abbasi, the guy who made Border.
Yeah, why wasn't that even on my honorable mention? I love Holy Spider. That's on Shudder right now too.
You
Oh.
probably didn't think it was horror enough, maybe.
I don't know if did I see it this year? I had to have seen it this year. I'm sorry. Go on, please. Let's let everybody know. This is great.
It's based on a true story of a serial killer that was in Iran in 2000, and it's kind of a crime procedural, but it's about this journalist, this female journalist in Iran who goes and investigates and becomes involved in the case. And it's a killer who's killing sex workers. So it's a very topical and, like I said, infuriating movie. And it's about religious fanaticism and misogyny.
Yeah.
But it's got great performances. It's terrifying and suspenseful. And I think it would be a really good double feature with, if you wanted to go topical, I would say it would be a really good double feature with The Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Or it could also be a really good, in a different way, double feature with Memories of Murder. I think both of those together. I really liked Holy Spider a lot.
I'll have to check Letterboxd because that was one that I was waiting and waiting and waiting to see. So I don't
Me
know.
too.
I don't know what happened, but it was maybe horror is such a subjective thing. Like some people I've heard them say if there's nothing supernatural in it that isn't horror, but then that cancels out like Friday the 13th and a lot of other things.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Exactly. So forget I even said that because but I don't know why I didn't, because Holy Spider I mean, it's just as much horror as like Zodiac or anything like that.
Sure.
I think more horrific because, like you said, I mean, it deals with a lot of like real life and things that are kind of relatable and just infuriating for all the reasons that you cited. But I did like it. I cannot believe I didn't. Amy, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. I
So
just hope more people see it.
Well, I was gonna say it is on Shudder now. I think.
Is it? I think it's also on Netflix.
Maybe it's Netflix. I'm gonna I never touched
Look on Just Watch.
thing, but I'm gonna look it up on Just Watch to make sure we know. Holy Spider, I will definitely. That's one that I want to buy. Okay, Holy Spider now is not on Shudder. It is on Netflix. You can watch it as soon as you're done listening to this show, or
It's
pause
dark.
this and watch it and then come back.
And it's kind of depressing, but it's really good.
Yeah, well, you know when you're in the mood to watch one of those, and when you're in the mood for Cocaine Bear, you just know.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I guess my 2 is Infinity Pool. Unlike Julieann, I have not seen this unrated cut because I saw it in the theater and then pre-ordered it immediately because I loved it. And then they sent me the Blu-ray with no bonus features and nothing, and then pop, like maybe 2 months later, here comes the unrated. And it honestly, I was like, why are you, what is it with the physical media? Like, if you're not gonna, that bothered me. And Evil Dead Rise is about to try that too. An unrated is coming because they did it with Evil Dead 2013. Oh man, Infinity Pool. I have to look at the differences of the running times, Julieann, but I doubt I'd tell the difference because even as R, it was rough.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
It
this
was
one
wild.
was just under 2 hours, I believe, the unrated cut. I'm not sure how the theatrical cut that
140 something.
140. Okay, so there's a good substantial amount more. Yeah.
Well, they're
Um,
gonna get my money then, aren't they?
I was told the unrated is the only way to watch it, but I've only seen the R also.
yeah.
Or the R.
You know what they should do? Was that Neon that put that out? Was it Neon?
Yes. Hmm.
Neon, what they need to do is send a replacement disc, not unlike when there's an error in their
Hmm.
first pressing. Everyone who bought it gets the unrated version on disc
Hmm.
because you've committed an error against those of us who are loyal to physical media. Anyways, neither here nor there. Julieann, you're number 2?
Megan. We don't have to go into it too deeply. And also, I would put that the unrated cut because there's a line, and I won't say it here, but when
Yes.
she grabbed Allison Williams' throat, it
Yes.
says, you know
Pretty
what she says?
spectacular. Yes, I do. I've seen it a lot.
I I was like, this is what this was all worth it for. And I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it in the theater, the PG-13. I was like, this is hilarious. And this is really smart. It's edgy. I think
It's gateway stuff, you know?
Akela Cooper obviously can write anything. I mean,
Mhm.
she's proven herself time and time again now. But that unrated cut, man, I was like, that is it right there. That's what we've all been waiting for. She's an icon. Megan is an icon.
Yeah, just it
Thank God
wasn't
for
some
Megan.
flash in the pan, but they just like Megan and Cocaine Bear, they really like the advertising was awesome, and I think it
Yeah.
drew in the right people,
Yes.
and those
Yes.
people actually went and made those movies hits, and
Yeah.
it
And
just
they're fun.
they
We
are.
kind of we've been going through not the last couple years, but like we've had a lot of dreary, grief-stricken, grief is the monster, horror
Mhm.
movies, which are all fine and well, but after a while it's like we need fun. We've all had a traumatic few years and we just need good time kind of movies. And we started getting them this year, which is really cool. So
Yeah, no, Cocaine Bear is a bona fide midnight movie, and
Mhm.
Megan, I think, is like a kid's midnight movie. I mean, it
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen both of those at least 5 times. Megan I
Okay.
saw in the theater twice. Cocaine Bear just the once.
Mhm.
But if it was showing down the street tonight, I would be like
Mhm.
there for the midnight. Anyways, Amy, you're gonna love it, I think. And if you
Well,
don't,
I'm excited.
I'll give you $5. Uh,
I'll take that bet.
okay. Amy, are we at your number 1?
I think we are. It's
Okay.
Infinity Pool.
All right. Well, give it to me, man.
I really loved it. I liked Possessor. I like the idea of Possessor, but I didn't connect with Possessor the way I connected with this.
Same. Same.
I felt like maybe it had a little bit of an absurd, dark humor to it that Possessor didn't have. Possessor was just so unrelentingly bleak and dark,
Yeah.
where this had kind of a gleeful sense of humor in a really dark, twisted way. Still, it's still a Cronenberg, but I enjoyed this more. It was a fun ride, and to me, I know a lot of people really have gotten into White Lotus in the past couple years, and this is like a horror fan's White Lotus. I really love that. I guess like his other movies, they don't go into the science at all. We just take it as
Yeah.
written, and I appreciate that about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the premise of it. It's a very rich premise. You can really explore a lot about humanity through it.
Mhm.
Do you think, Amy, that comparing this and Crimes of the Future, that maybe Brandon like may have blown past his dad? Did you like it more than
I
did you
liked
like
it a little more. They were close and they both had a similar vibe, I thought, but I did like it more. I think it had a more clear vision.
Yeah, the body horror apple didn't fall far from the body horror.
No.
Julianne, what about you? Did you see both of them?
Crimes of the Future, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes, and I agree. I prefer Infinity Pool. I liked Crimes of the Future.
me too. Me too.
but I wasn't like really thinking about it much. Like I was kind of like took it for what it was, but this is especially when it comes to Cronenberg body sex and that this is just more interesting to me and
Yeah.
edgier to me. I didn't know where it was going to happen next. Like, yeah, I definitely prefer Infinity Pool. So sorry, Daddy, but
No, it's okay. I thought that was gonna be his last movie. Apparently, he just finished making
yeah,
another one. So
yeah,
that's
another
God,
chance.
what a
Yeah,
what a time to be a horror dork, I gotta say.
yeah.
Um, speaking of, we're down to my number one and Julianne's number one, and they are the same movie. So
Mhm,
Julianne, since I know that you were a very vocal champion of this film immediately,
mhm.
and have also been a vocal champion of this filmmaker, I did an entire podcast. I released my notes from after
Yeah.
I saw it not long ago. I waited. I don't know why I found it, and I was just like, you know what? I need to just throw this out there. So everybody's already heard me talk about it. I want to hear you talk about
Yeah, I listened to it, which I very much enjoyed, Andrew. Yeah, it's Beau
it.
is Afraid. And I I struggled with putting this on my list because I was like, is this horror enough? And I think the reason why it might have not hit with people for certain people because they're not they think they think Hereditary. That's when they think Ari Aster, it's like I want another Hereditary, which I loved, but if you go back and watch his short films, this is the kind of director that Ari Aster truly is. He makes nightmares, as he says, nightmare comedies. They're pitch black, messed up comedies, and that's what Beau is Afraid is. If you ever seen the short, there's direct scenes in the short included in the film, and I think as someone who is anxious and has anxiety, I'm not a Jewish boy, but or an only Jewish son, but I am an only child and have been smothered by a mom who could, much lovelier than this woman is in this movie, but it just I connected with it. I think in the fear, I think there's nothing more horrifying in life than not truly living your life because you're afraid of what a parent or somebody else may think of you. And you're always afraid of disappointing them. Therefore, you just don't do anything at all. You just sit in this little bubble and just are waiting. We wait for life to happen to you. And that to me is there's nothing more terrifying than that. Nor is there nothing more terrifying than when Patti LuPone shows up in this film in the third act. That was like, oh my God, this is like you. There's like the movie's like three different parts, right? And then it's like when that happens, I'm like, oh, this is like actually kind of terrifying. Like I
Yes.
don't know what she's up to and what she has in plan. And yeah, the bizarro phallic thing. I won't say what exactly it is, but it comes about like to me, like this movie has literal BALLS. And I loved it. And I for 3 hours it zipped through for me.
Right.
And I just couldn't. I went into this thinking like whatever happens, happens. If it's my least favorite Ari Aster film, fine. And it probably is in comparison. But man, did I love it. Like it's my movie to beat this year, to be honest. And I would watch it again in a heartbeat. And again, with like you said about physical media, they're charging $40 for just the Blu-ray. And I highly doubt that there's anything even interesting on it, which irritates me. But yeah, alas, Beau is Afraid is my number one movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you're someone who subscribes to this podcast or finds it on wherever you put things in your ears, there's a whole I just walked out of Beau is Afraid back in April, and I was it was the first time I was inspired to sit in my car and ramble about a movie I just saw in a very long time. So I usually don't care what I think about movies anymore. That's why a friend of mine was like, "Why are you stopping the podcast?" I'm like, it was always about hearing what my friends thought about stuff. I don't even want to hear what I think anymore, if that's making any sense. I just don't want to hear what I think. And so but Beau is Afraid, I was really moved by it. It was an exciting time at the movies, and I feel like a masterpiece in all ways. There you are. So does anybody have a movie they're like super looking forward to seeing this year that's not out yet?
Several. I'm really excited about Talk to Me. I'm very
Mhm.
excited about It Lives Inside. I think Neon is kind of having an exciting year. There's a movie called Monolith It's about actually, I think, a podcasting journalist who something spooky happens to her, which I'm kind of curious about. She's kind of like ostracized for something. I can't remember exactly what the plot was. I'm really excited for Late Night with the Devil with David Douse. How do you pronounce his name? He was in The Boogeyman.
Mhm.
David Douse or something along those lines. I'm not sure. I'm excited for Meg 2. That could be a blast. I love a good shark movie. That might be a good time. And Follow Her. Has anyone seen Follow Her yet? It's a
Mm-mm.
social media influencer, another influencer horror. I don't know if it's available to rent yet, but I'm curious to see that. About a girl who she's like a perfectly pretty influencer chick and something happens to her and I don't know what goes from there. But yeah, there's a lot of smaller stuff I think coming out this year. I'm kind of tired of franchises. I'm kind of ready to let those babies rest and see some of the gems coming out. So yeah, I have a pretty long list of movies I'm excited to see for the rest of the year.
What about you, Amy? Besides Barbie, what are you real excited about?
Other than Barbie, I am kind of excited to see the new Insidious movie that's coming out pretty soon.
It's part 5, right?
Oh
Because
gosh.
4 was the last key.
Yes, then it's 5.
Yeah, because 4 had all that Lin Shaye, and that really got me like, all right. 'Cause I
Finally
think,
made Lynn Shade like the center of it.
yeah,
Made
because
no
I'd
bones
missed a
about it.
couple, and when I watched it, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is, and so I just went back, because yeah, yeah, okay. I mean, I will be there definitely for that.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm excited about Talk to Me as well. I've been waiting for that one to come out. It feels like for a long time now.
yeah, well,
It
the
feels like,
trailer was
well,
great.
since Sundance, we've been waiting,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's when it premiered. And I think a lot of us are just waiting for something truly to actually haunt us. Cause for me, it's been probably since Hereditary. I've actually had a movie that really scared me in the theater. And nothing really in the last 5 years has done that. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping this could be the one, next month, July.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So is that Exorcist David Gordon Green one coming out this year or no?
Yes. I think it's October, I believe. Yeah. The Blumhouse, another trilogy.
I mean, I'd like those Halloween movies that he did. So
Well, yeah, we'll see what I mean. I'm definitely curious. Yeah, I trying to think of other. There's something coming out. I don't know the name of it, but it has to do with like takes place in like the 1800s on like a ship or something.
oh, The
Have you
Last
guys?
Voyage of the Demeter.
Is that what it is?
It's
Is that
Dracula's ship from the
that's
novel.
Dracula ship? Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's what's coming out. Yeah, I haven't seen anything for it or any. I just have heard about it. But is there a trailer or anything that came
Mhm.
out
Yeah,
or?
I saw it in
Oh,
the
there is.
theater. It played
Oh,
before
okay.
Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, okay.
Do you know though, and this is a question for the whole room, um, why Dracula's wife has trouble sleeping at night? It's because of his coffin.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Uh, I have
I
had absolutely wonderful time with the two of you. I did all of it up top, all of my favorites. Do we want to give your info one last time for those who don't want to rewind to the beginning or were in their car or didn't write it down or were cutting the grass or whatever, just so they can find where you are, not like literally where you are, because if you're one of those creeps,
Don't dox us, man.
I'm an actual journalist. I mean, I know the police,
yeah.
so just don't try it. Um, but where they can find the things that you do in terms of your writing and your podcasting. Julieann?
Okay. You can find me at the Jewel Marie on Instagram and Twitter, and nothing in terms of physical media coming out this year, writing wise. I've had a lot of digital stuff coming out, so hopefully, some thoughts on Beau is Afraid for streaming and Talk to Me, maybe. Maybe my thoughts on that coming out in Bloody Disgusting. We'll see. Yeah, that's
Not
it.
on the $40, not on the audio commentary for Beau is Afraid, the $40.
You know, I'm insulted they didn't ask. However,
Clearly, whoever made this has no idea what they're doing.
it's just the ball drop. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're afraid of you and they should be. What about you, Amy? Where can everybody find your dulcet tones?
My dulcet tones.
You can move the
You-
mic back if you want to really like demonstrate it.
My dulcet tones. These dulcet tones.
That's how you sound
This
on your
vocal
show.
fry.
Wow.
You can find me on the Bloodlust. You can find us on whatever podcasting platform you listen to. I've also been doing some stuff for other podcasts like Tales to Terrify, Knife Point Horror, and Goblin Market. So you can find me on those shows occasionally too, or on Instagram at Pet the Dog if you want to find pictures of my foster dogs.
I mean, as far as how you do social media, you're one of my absolute favorites. I
Oh,
mean,
well, thank you.
yeah, because 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 of my job, I'm a person in the media and a media professional, whatever you want to call it. I gotta be out there. But so I'm like, just I don't know what to do with it, but I'm doing with it. So, but you do really do something with it. Like it's very. I don't want to use the word noble because it's just how you are, and so I absolutely love it. And every single one of those dogs, I just want to.
No, you just want to squish their faces, don't you?
You want to squish their face, squishable faces. They just look
Yeah.
like my buddies, all of them. Anyway, I don't know if this is the last time the three of us will do this. But just in case, I just want to thank you for taking a chance on me because I have so much respect for both of you. And I will see you in the future where we'll spend the rest of our lives. Anything to add, Julieann?
No, I just want to thank you for having me and being such a staunch supporter, and
I'm both.
reporter.
I'm both. Oh, of your writing?
Yeah, but yeah, you've been since day one. You've been very vocal, and I really appreciate that because it's people like you who make me feel like motivated to keep doing it when AI and so many listicles and crap just permeates the airwaves of
But it won't
of
last.
writing.
None of that's going to last. None of that is going to stand the test when people are really, people are seriously writing about this stuff and seriously researching this stuff. There's going to be so many ads on all those articles you just talked about. They're not even going to look at it. It's just going to escape the window as soon as possible. There are reviews by folks like Chaz Balin that I still read to this day, and I know I have them memorized because they were so good
Yeah.
that they stuck with me, and I can quote you lines from I read when I'm 12 years old. And
Yeah.
so there is, as a journalist, I can say there's value for doing it. You don't have to be first and you don't have to be loudest. You just need to be the best, and you are one of the best. So I hope you find some secure feelings in that.
So are you. Thank you so much.
I just try. I put my elbow out and do this. Amy, last word.
I'm getting kind of sad now, Andrew.
I didn't
Yeah.
mean to do that to y'all.
Well, I
I'm
feel
just,
like
you know me. I'm a softie. I'm just.
you're just such a champion for all the best things.
Oh,
And I
thanks.
feel like there's going to be a big empty space where this podcast was,
Yes.
you know?
Well, hopefully it's not going to get erased, so it'll be
Well,
there.
no, but I
Good
hope that I can try and champion some of the stuff that you would have championed in your place, I
Oh,
guess.
thanks. Well, have me on sometime.
I would love to. As soon as I figure out how to record better when I have people call in, every time I do it, it's a disaster.
Oh, dude, no. And plus, we can always do lives. We can just do lives, and we can just be live nerds together, and no one will be able to do anything about it. We could just hit YouTube or something. You know what I mean?
It's perfect.
But you can count on me being a reader and a listener. Absolutely, both of you. Well, peace, everybody. Thanks, Julieann. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks for having us.